Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. I hope you can hear me. So yeah, I've been dealing with this for a week, guys. And this was my brother. In case you guys didn't know, half my family's black. So I have half siblings and step siblings and all different shapes, colors, and sizes. And my sons have black as well. And Charles was a veteran of Iraq War. He was Signal Corps Army, and the girl there on his lap, that's his daughter, and he has 5 children. Had 5 children, 5 daughters, if you can believe that. And his youngest, this girl here, I don't know the exact circumstances. They live in the state of Tennessee. First mistake, right? Hello, everyone. Bell, KK's GG, Robert, thanks. So it's a little bit confusing. I don't know all the details, but she was born with some birth defect, or allegedly it was at the very least exacerbated by her treatment in the hospital, which was deplorable and atrocious. She has seizures, more than 10 times a day, or was having them. And the hospital, the state hospital in Tennessee, demanded that she be hospitalized and was not allowed contact with the family. So, I mean, for days on end, she was literally, I'm not going to show you guys pictures, but you can just imagine this little girl. I mean, she's like 4.5, 5 maybe here. But she was physically strapped down to the bed, immobile, for days on end. All kinds of tubes and wires going into her, all kinds of other crazy crap. I have seen the pictures. It's just awful. I'd get banned from YouTube if I showed you. So they took her out. They took her out of the hospital. They said, we can take better care of her at home. And that was true. And they did. The state, and what they ended up doing, they actually ended up suing the hospital. And they are still suing the hospital for her treatment, for her mistreatment in the hospital of this little girl. And I'm not going to use any names except for my brother Charles. I want to keep it private. But the hospital doctors or administration, in retribution, in revenge, called State Child Protective Services on Charles and his wife. And State Child Protective Services showed up, and this happened about this time last year. Okay, so a year ago, roughly speaking. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I know Charles was pissed. He was a happy-go-lucky, jolly guy, I have to tell you, you know. But under these circumstances, watching your daughter endure literal torture for months and months on end, and then to have the hospital, it's precisely because you're suing them for malpractice, to have the, it's just so low. And so he spoke his mind to the government people, and they made the determination that he was a threat because they felt threatened by him. Now, this is a very rural and actually quite racist town area, part of Tennessee. And I guess he had to be there. His job was literally building electronic warfare systems for the U.S. Army, right? Because he was in the National Guard, and he got out and he got a job doing this, and he got into IT in the Army because of me. He said, because I'm the oldest in the family. So the state, with no court case, they don't need to do anything like that. The State Child Protective Services made the ruling, demanded that my brother Charles could not be in the home with his 4 girls, and one of them disabled and having seizures 10 times a day. Not allowed to see his daughters. Period. At all. Zero contact allowed with his 4 daughters. Now, all the way from teenage. Well, he has one adult daughter who's 20. I can't remember. 20 something. And then all the way from teenager down to perfectly normal, beautiful children. And they said, no, you cannot have contact with your children. And I mean, I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience of having your children taken away from you, or having or losing a child, God forbid. It's the worst. It's the worst thing that can happen to a parent. Absolutely, it's the worst. And you can see in this picture, you can see how much my brother loved his children, loved his daughter. And she is in almost constant pain. And they had to, I believe he did have contact with his daughters, but they had to sneak around to do it, and he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take it anymore. And I feel awful. I hadn't spoken to him in months. I'm not saying I blame myself. I'm angry. And this is how we treat our veterans. People who served our country. And Last night I was trying to prepare to do this live stream today to talk about veterans issues in Ukraine, and and I just and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And then I got up this morning and I just felt like hell, and I was trying, you know. So I you can only compartmentalize so much. You know what I mean? Really. And they exist. I know you just lost a friend, your best friend. It's crazy. This is, I've had so many of, obviously here, I've had so many of my friends die. Um, Tony. If you guys didn't know Casey, who I sent money to for a car, and I'll have to show you guys the text. I don't know if he bought the car because his unit needed something else, and they spent it on, I think, first aid kit stuff or something. Like $3,000, 3,500, I think it was. We raised. Anyway, he's dead. I'm sorry, guys. He's gone. I've been trying to. I'm sorry. I can't really even talk about it. I guess maybe I was prepared for that. Like Casey was prepared. Tony is prepared for that. It's the ones that sneak up on you. It's the ones that sneak up on you. And I want to apologize to anybody today who is trying to contact me, trying to talk to me. We're working with Technology for Ukraine, Technology United for Ukraine, and on stuff. And I had meetings supposed to happen today, and I just couldn't do any of it. I just couldn't do anything. I took the dog for a walk. That's what I did. So I've been talking with his wife, obviously. She's a lovely, lovely lady, lovely woman, but now she has to raise 4 freaking daughters, 4 children on her own. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And I told her, just get the hell out of there. Get out of that town. I think she's going to sell the house and get out of that. I mean, you hate to take the kids away from a stable environment, but just for sanity's sake. Thank you, Sakai and Anna. I didn't get a chance to read your messages. I just saw them briefly on it today, but I'll go back and read them. Thank you all for sharing. What I wanted to talk about today is this. So my unit, Angry Birds, Zleep Tahi, we have these fixed wing drones, and that I'm involved with and stuff, and these things. But the government doesn't pay for them. So we have to raise money for that. So we have a charity. It's a Ukrainian registered charity. It's called Hero of Ukraine. and they have these projects. And let's see, will it come up? Okay, maybe it won't. What's going on with my page here? Try that. All right, yeah. Here we go. So, they have to raise money. Imagine a charity in America raising money to buy, military drones. It's crazy. It's crazy. But one of the most important they exist. They exist says, I have a house set up for handicap. It will be for sale at 100,000 below market to honor my friend. Wow. My little profit takes me to Ukraine. Reverse mortgage on the way. It's not a bad idea. I mean, that's basically how I came here. Is had a little money from the sale of a house and some other money from investment and my IT work, and didn't take a lot. You could live easily on less than $1,000 a month here. I mean, my income is like $500 a month, and my wife says, I don't know, roughly about the same, maybe a little more. Actually, it's fine to live on here. But anyway, so this is what I really wanted to talk about today. This is what I was going to talk about today. So my unit, they got a little grant from some European charity, and to open up a veteran support center. And the thing you have to understand is we do have universal health care here, but there's not like a VA hospital. There's not like a, dedicated support for veterans on a government level in the way that you would have in the United States. And I know that those of you who are veterans maybe don't have such a high opinion of the VA in America. I've definitely heard some horror stories. But so this is a, totally charity funded thing. And when I joined the unit, which by the way, I've heard horror stories about military units here in Ukraine who didn't give proper treatment to soldiers, didn't let them take a medical leave when they needed it, or made them come back before they were healed. I mean, actually, one of my friends here in my village was telling me just about that. He still can't see out of one eye. Had, brain trauma, and they were trying to get him to go back to Kupiansk or whatever. So I know that exists, but these guys, my unit, I just feel so lucky to have joined this Birds of Fury unit. I told them what happened as soon as I found out, which was like last Tuesday, and they were already making me take this stupid vacation. So, but they were just, all of them, and they continue to be and have been so supportive. But this kind of thing, what happened to my brother, what happened to Charles, they didn't have any resources in this little town. He didn't have anybody to go to Um, I mean, they I guess they have a lawyer that the legal case is ongoing, but that's stressful. And so these are the kind of things that this veteran center, and this is the name that they came up with. Okay, it's FETA. I don't know why. I don't think it means anything. It's the brand name, the Veteran Support Center. And it's, yeah, Cheryl. So Cheryl says that's something JP at ATP Geopolitics always talks about. In Europe, military healthcare is part of the domestic budget, and in the USA, military healthcare is part of the military budget. Yeah, yeah. So it's not really comparable. You're right, but um, here in Ukraine, I mean, they barely have a military budget, for Christ's sake, much less a military healthcare budget. No, but I mean, there is healthcare available. But the sort of the long term, the mental health support is the real issue. It's not about the the. I mean, yeah, you can get physical therapy, and there's help from. That's I wanted to bring up this article here. But as far as like long-term aftercare, social support, mental health support, that is slim to none. And culturally, uh, there. I mean, even in the U.S. military, culturally, there has historically been a lot of stigma around mental health. But it's even worse here, much much worse here, because here you have to understand that in the Soviet Union, psychology was an offensive. It was a weapon of war, and going to see the psychologist was sometimes literally torture. Um, the the psychologist of a unit would normally be more like a KGB officer, possibly, who. So there's a lot of not just stigma around mental health, but fear, like deep seated trauma around mental health issues. And so the model that that they are using in this and here I should probably, I'll see if I can find the description. The model that they are using in this support center is it's community based, right? So it's not healthcare based. It's veterans and their families coming together to help each other. And so they've got really a group of uh, like wives, mostly, of veterans, because obviously most of the veterans are actually serving. And they have they're almost like a governing body for the veteran center, and they decide on mental health supporting activities that they can do, and that they do regularly. And that could be something as simple as a book club, or sitting around and having tea and just talking. um, just these sort of very simple things that make such a difference. And the other thing is that maybe it's a little bit like technical support, right? So a lot of companies, like I used to work for a computer company, for example, and they didn't want to provide technical support for their computers. If you guys remember, the name of the company was called Gateway Computers, and they didn't want to provide technical support for their computers. And guess what? There's no more Gateway Computers anymore, because people didn't want to buy their computers. The same thing is true with veterans. Okay. I hear it all the time from Ukrainians here. They say, why do I want to go and fight when, I'm going to lose my arms, my legs, and then I'm not going to get any support afterwards? Where's the long-term support from me? And for my here, I think I'm going to try and translate this. I meant to do this before the stream, but I'll do it now. So a big part of the problem of recruiting, new recruits is that they rightfully believe that they will be mistreated, not by the Russians, but by their own army and by their own commanders, and that they won't get the kind of treatment that they need. And so I wish that not just obviously the Ukrainian government, okay, but more importantly, charities who are looking for ways to support Ukraine, like Jake Broe, for example, who did an amazing job, is doing an amazing job raising money to support. Was it Richard Woodruff? His thing. The Veteran Support Center in the Carpathians. The idea that they want behind, and I'll just read for you the purpose. So I'm reading translated Ukrainian here. Defenders Support Space was created for military personnel, veterans, their family members, and families of the deceased. Our goal to provide comprehensive support to military personnel, veterans, and their family members, creating a space for professional consultations. So that means like legal help. Yeah. And this is what I'm getting at. So this is the kind of thing my brother could have gotten, should have been able to get, psychosocial assistance. Notice they don't say psychological because they can't. They also can't say healthcare, because if they do that, then the state hospital pops in and says, you're not authorized, right? So psychosocial assistance and readaptation. We strive to provide defenders with everything necessary for their physical, psychological, and social well-being, making their path to recovery and reintegration as comfortable and effective as possible. It is here that everyone will not be able to consult on their own on their issues with a social worker. Everyone will be able not only to consult on their issues with a social worker, receive help from a psychologist and lawyer, join mutual support groups, leisure activities, volunteer activities of our city, but also satisfy their request for communication and support in the peer-to-peer format. Just so important, And this is one of the first things I found out about when I joined my unit. And I just wanted to, what I want to do right now, actually, is show you. They literally are just finishing this space. So this video was from December. Yeah.
finished.
Oh, yeah. So it's a lot of work to do for sure.
Can you guys hear? I don't know if you can hear it.
No, a lot of work done already.
So this space has been like completely renovated.
You don't see it before.
Oh, before?
All the floors, all.
I don't know. Can you guys hear the video?
This room, all.
Hey, Catherine. Thanks for coming.
Cool. So this will be like a.
Audio's good.
General,
Great.
Here will be.
This is actually my commander
Open space. Here we will
talking, but
have
she's
some
the one
furniture, like
who's
some,
kind of running
here
this
will
whole
be
thing.
some small like kitchen area.
Okay.
Some coffee machine, some kettle, some kind of table with cups, mugs, and everything.
Yeah.
There will be the table of case manager.
Okay.
In there we will have some sofas or something like this, where people can sit and have some cozy space. In that corner we will have child corner.
Oh, okay. That's the children's area. All right.
And here will be some like not private but more private area.
Yeah.
We're thinking about to put a PlayStation here, or maybe some puff beds. So here, I don't know, like
teenagers.
Maybe, or even veterans. They
Sure,
can
veterans.
make their coffee and sitting here.
Yeah.
It's like far away from case manager. Case manager will be here all the time.
Right.
But it's, I don't know, like more privacy in there. And here will be room for some private talks. Here will work, psychologist will work.
Sure.
Here
Psychologist.
will work a lawyer, and maybe some small group meetings.
Sure.
Like
Hey, Livicat.
3 to 5 people with this lawyer or with psychologist, or maybe just for private talk. So here it will be.
Hey, Yogi.
Like
Thanks for
more
coming.
Private room and room for private conversation.
Cool.
Yeah. So Stretch says Russia, on the other hand, sent their wounded men from World War II around Moscow and St. Petersburg to a city where they had to put up for cripples where they rot away. Yeah, and then they all just disappeared one day in like 1947. Yeah, that's well known. You know, so this was like over a month ago, and they had to completely renovate this space. So the floors redone, the walls, everything. And this is what it looked like when it was under construction. You know, as they were finishing here. And now let me show you what it looks like today. Much nicer. This is the meeting room for meeting with lawyers and psychologists. They've got a nice little setup. Now they don't have a lot of furniture yet. A little bit. Got some tables. Let's see. Take a look at the next one. So now the next things that they need are just like basic supplies. They, I have a list somewhere. Maybe I'm not fully together yet today, but I am gonna on my so if you guys felt like you wanted to donate to support this, it's heroesukraine.org, and you can just go there, and when you donate, you can use PayPal, you can use bank card, but I got to tell you, some people's bank cards work and others don't. And so like Google Pay here, for some people, some banks and some people it works. For me, on mine it works. I think so anyway. Other ones it just doesn't work, and I wish I could tell you I knew why. That is one reason why I'm on my own site here. I'm going to put a link for I'll put a link to this page, and then I'll have a second link that'll say, like, if that doesn't work, if this doesn't work for some reason, then you can donate through me, and you lose a little bit because I have to transfer the money and blah blah blah, but at least it gets there. And so yeah, I just want to. The bathroom, pretty decent. They've got a nice arm thing there. They had to, there's not a lot of for disabled people in wheelchairs. There's not a lot of ramps, and the whole concept of building for disabled people didn't exist in Soviet architecture, as you can imagine. Oh, it wasn't me. Yeah. It's been documented. Thank you, Bell. Bell just gifted 10 Last Alliance memberships, which is really super cool. Okay. So, and then so the goal for this is they actually, if this is successful, if this launch is successful, they want to, I don't know how they're going to fund it or what have you, but they want to repeat this all across the country, make it like a chain or a franchise or a national thing. By the way, one thing that they need to raise money for is, so they have these heaters here, and these heaters are connected to the like how it works here in Ukraine and in some parts of Europe, like Sweden and things. The heat actually comes from a central city, like hot water plant that gets pumped throughout the entire city. So they replaced all these, we would call them radiators. The problem is that this is inside like part of a larger building, and this larger building is closed in the wintertime. And so there's no heat coming in. So they're going to have to buy like heat pumps, and it's going to be like, it's going to be like about $1,000 for a heater for this space if they are going to get one. So, we might do like a fundraiser for that or something, if you guys were interested. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these kind of efforts are as important as freaking drones. Okay. And I'm gonna improve this. I'm gonna work on this because I just put it together yesterday. This fundraiser to, so my unit now, the private company part of our unit that builds our drones, is we're cranking up to make fiber drones, not for ourselves, but to go to other units. And this is a prototype created by Technology for Ukraine. And we're going to have to beef it up, though, because these drones need to... Anyway, the point is, if you want to support fiber optic drones, we're doing it here. Maybe I should turn this into a raffle or something. We don't know how much these drones are going to cost yet. Hopefully I'll get a cost estimate from my engineering team this week. But I am going up to Kyiv some one day this week to meet with Johnny, JP, and Jonathan Fink and Rick and Greg Terry. And I'm also going to go up and pick up some of these fiber spools so that we can test them on our prototype drone. And then we're going to start cranking them out. But, helping helping veterans and giving support to veterans is just as important because look, my friend I was talking to today, who is a veteran, and like I said, he got wounded in Kupiansk. He had, like blast wave from artillery. I think he's starting to gain his vision back in one eye. He told me today. He said, if the British or the Europeans come here to Ukraine, he said, I'll join back. I'll join back. But I'm not going to join the Ukrainian army. I'll join them. Or fight under them. I hear this from a lot of veterans, not just him. I've had a lot of veterans say to me, yeah, we just get rid of our commanders and let's bring in NATO commanders. We'll fight for them. No joke. Not a joke. And the reason is, he said, my friend today said, because they care about us. Because they care about our lives. Because they don't send us off, to die when we're physically incapable of doing it. And I'm not saying that that's every Ukrainian unit, but it's there's still a lot of Russia in Soviet bullshit. Yeah, so the story that Stretch is talking about how after World War II, we can actually look it up right now. Let's see. Soviet soldiers, no, Soviet veterans after World War II. What happened to veterans after World War II? Yeah. No. Soviet. Yeah, here we go. Soviet repressions against former prisoners of war. Maybe there's a guy. Let me see. I don't really like this channel, but it's a Ukrainian American who talks about this. Yushanka Show. I'm not a big fan of him, but he does have I'm not sure he's as pro-Ukraine as he really ought to be. But he has well, I probably won't find it, but if you look on this channel, he has a thing about how what happened to Soviet soldiers after World War II. And yeah, they were just basically rounded up from the street and sent out to some island in the middle of a lake. Actually, the island where they were sent, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe the island where they were sent is Main Bunker. It's on a lake. It's on it's an island in the middle of a lake, and it just happens to be where they sent. Yeah, well, I won't. But it's here if you check it out. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it. So this article is a really important one. The importance of aiding Ukrainian veterans. And, I like I said, I'm just incredibly lucky that I'm in this unit that I'm in. I only wanted a day. Yeah, Leathercat, kind of had, yeah, don't get me started on this guy, but he does accurately talk about both the good and the bad of living in Russia. He doesn't have he's not about nostalgia, is how I would say it. But I would also not call him a Ukrainian supporter, which is really sucks. Yeah. So here it says Ukraine is struggling due to inadequate veteran care. Options for Ukrainian veterans receiving care are less than ideal. For example, the country has just one rehabilitation center in the northwestern city of Rivne dedicated to treating spinal injuries, and that facility has just 100 beds. Such a gap in care will result in a reduced quality of life, as depression can often follow physical injuries. Think about someone that we all know of, who had a spinal injury and who didn't get treatment, and what happened to him. Yeah. Luigi, anybody? You know? Oh yeah, it wasn't me. Like this story about World War II veterans. I mean, it was covered up by the Soviet government and the Russian government. Yalmar Branting, when you talk about this, I can hear the song "Waltzing Matilda" by the Pooges. When you say "Waltzing Matilda," I have the Tom Waits version in my head, so I don't know. They exist, says that inflatable antenna looks like a good story. What wave is that for? Long wave, or why is it so big? That's interesting. I'm not going to address that today. They exist, but it is something that I'm doing research on, actually. So, thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl says, seems you landed where you were meant to be in the non-religious sense. Is there a religious sense for that? I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky that, I have my wife and her family. I mean, they don't understand what I'm going through, but they are very supportive, and if you've never lost someone close to you, and especially to this, you really can't. You just don't know. In my case, my this is not my first rodeo with this. My best friend shot himself in 2015, and it wrecked me. Absolutely wrecked me. It was totally unexpected, and I was suicidal for years afterwards. And actually, coming to Ukraine, coming to Europe, just getting the hell. I had to get the hell out of the whole entire country to get rid of the suicidal ideation. To be honest, that's how hard it was. Suicide is a virus, guys. And this is why I said when I posted on Discord, I said, if you don't want to come, I will not to this live stream. I won't blame you for that, because if you are struggling with ideation already, or you have in the past, it's potentially actually even dangerous for you to even watch this live stream. Yeah, Anna. Yeah, I've actually lost two friends as well. My two best friends. Decades apart. It happened twice to me, and now Charles. And I mean, okay, right. Charles and I didn't talk all the time. It was more like a, "How you doing? Hey, what's up? Nothing much. Cool." Like guys, like men do. What I have learned, and those of you who have been who have had someone so close to you die like this, to the point where you actually start thinking about doing the same thing to yourself. You know, um, it's hard. It's real hard. You have to. I call it a diet of the mind. I got that line from a Beautiful Mind movie. You know, where the guy's, he's technically schizophrenic, but he gets around and lives. And he wins the Nobel Prize and all that. I don't know if he actually said that, but it's a line in the movie. He practices a diet of the mind. And also, I use depression like the wind on a sailboat. So it pushes me away from things that things that make me want to die. I mean, it's ironic. It's incredibly ironic, right? That sail has pushed me to Ukraine. But I was so incredibly existentially depressed in America that nothing helped. Antidepressants had too many side effects. I mean, alcoholism is a thing, and I struggle with that. Now, I acquired, in addition to that, I acquired alcoholism. Great, that's all I got out of that. I mean, it got me through some parts, but it was awful. I'll tell you, the only thing that really worked, and the problem was I'm not very good at acquiring these things, so I never had as much as I needed. The only thing that really worked, psilocybin mushrooms, microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. Yeah, Cheryl has a very good, and Cheryl, if that's why, one reason why I wanted to talk about this from a positive perspective. So Cheryl says, I've gotten through suicidal periods, could be why I'm a bit numb right now. Not pleasant to revisit that frame of mind. I just don't allow myself to go there. Yes, exactly right. You don't, you can't, you physically can't. And it's one reason why for the past week, I just couldn't. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't think about it. And I'm not saying I blame you guys, but this subject matter, because I really want to support this veterans center opening up, and I really think this is absolutely vital for Ukraine. And so I was already planning on doing a live stream about this subject, and then this happens, and it's just too close. It's too close for me. And yeah, Stretch says it's not an easy subject. That's why it gets ignored so often. And it's a fine line to walk, because you start talking about these things, and it can start that ideation in your own minds, and it is literally a mind virus. And so I almost didn't even want to talk about this, But I can just tell you from my own experience that, like Charles's wife, I told her, I said, get yourself and the girls out of that environment, around different people at the very least. And it's not because they're bad people or that even the environment is bad, although I think whatever fucked ass racist part of Tennessee they're in. Oh, Leathercat, I'm so sorry. a torn aorta a week ago. That's what my grandmother died from in 2015. So when I say that I use that depression, that it's my subconscious brain pushing me, saying you got to do what fills your soul. You got to oh man, who's the hero's journey guy? Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell, he had this philosophy. He said, follow your bliss. Right? Maybe I have never really been in touch with my bliss enough. Sounds weird. Maybe my bliss, the things that I want in this world, are too far away. But when you're the problem is, yes, Bill, exactly. Bill says, I tell people all the time, you have to do what feeds your soul. Exactly. Yeah, Stretch says, critical thinking, ask yourself, does this help me or hurt me? Does this make sense? Why would they do this? It's related. KK's GG, I had to completely reframe how I see the world and my existence in it to effectively treat that mind virus when it hit me early in life. Yeah. You do. And I did. And my journey across Europe, coming to Ukraine, was part of that journey, and finding someone who really loved me. Stretch, yes, it was at someone else, but it was actually relevant to our discussion too. So it's okay. It's interesting. You say such interesting things, they exist. Ideation becomes strong tools to a future power of insight. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it now. You're born with just instincts and whales, no power to intercede for good until you get past many big conflicts. Yeah. But see, here's the problem with being a parent. And I mean, I don't know how you guys probably, and Charles loved his children. Okay. And I love my children. I was never happy as a parent. Being a parent for me was just depressing, nerve-wracking, fear, terror, anger, all the time. It was never any good emotions for me as a parent raising my children. And I felt trapped. I'm not saying that I was right or wrong in these feelings. They were just the feelings that I had. And so I understand in Charles's case, like, what am I going to do? It's so awful. It's so fucking awful. And I've never been happier to live in Ukraine, to be honest with you. When I found out about this shit, because this is not a thing that happens in Ukraine, I can tell you. Oh, Stretch says, my family and state continually intervened with me at being a parent because I smoked pot. Yeah, see? Because you didn't want to use Adderall. Yeah, exactly, which is a much stronger drug, And so for me, what worked actually was microdosing psilocybin. And that, because okay, this is going to get me banned from YouTube. I don't care. There's a whole lot of evidence coming out now. Finally, the government is allowing studies on this. Here we go. A double-blind study Psilocybin and microdosing means you're taking extremely small amounts. Yeah, Stretch says Ritalin is why I think I got on hard drugs later. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's basically just, meth, essentially. So there's a lot of evidence coming out about this. And if you haven't, if you are dealing with depression, I'm not saying that I'm obviously not giving medical advice here, but if nothing else is working, this worked for me. You take a tiny, it's like the tiniest little piece. You're not eating a whole goddamn mushroom, and it lasts for 4 to 6 hours, so it's a very short time. And all that happens is it's just like you're having a good day. It's not like you're not hallucinating. You're not seeing or hearing anything strange. It's just like you're having a good day. And so, like when I worked at NASA, this is what got me through every day at NASA. Yeah, it wasn't me as microdosing what mushrooms. I will tell you right now that if you snapped your fingers and made all of the LSD, psilocybin, and cannabis disappear from Silicon Valley, the internet would shut down. The internet would literally shut down, guys. It's so common at least when I was in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley microdosing. And I look, 2020. There's a bunch of it. Okay? I mean, it's all over the place. Wall Street Journal, Wired, Forbes, all these articles about it. No, I'm not going to buy a membership. Shut up. There we go. And yeah, so that's what worked for me and got me through. But honestly, it's a crutch, right? Any medicine is a crutch, right? It's supposed to get you through to help you heal, and then you should not need it anymore, right? And I think that the American medical profession is, first with regards to psychology, is not about rehabilitation or resilience. It's about just, here, take some drugs and you'll be on this for the rest of your life, and that's just how you are now. Richard, thank you very much. Yeah. So Richard says, coming out of lurking just long enough to wish you and your family strength, James. Thanks for being open. It helps me and probably many of us. That's exactly my point. I was literally in tears about half of the day today. But I just felt like I had to talk about this. I had to get it out. I can't like, it's still going to be in me, but also I think what I'm going to do is there's times when I just don't want to talk about it because I need to focus on other things. And so it might happen in the future if someone wants to ask about this, not even on just in person, I'll be like, here, go watch my live stream. Because I don't want to repeat it over again. Paul says, I ate LSD like Smarties back in the day. In the UK, shrooms are much smaller, but I still ate them like there was no tomorrow. Yeah, I've always I always preferred to be in a very specific environment. Thank you, CZ, for your thoughts. I've always preferred to be in a very specific environment, and I'm not very social normally when if I'm gonna like take a lot of that stuff. But with the microdosing, I was just gave me the ability to function with no side effects. And that's the thing is I know people. I have an ex-wife who got permanent brain damage from Wellbutrin. Okay, I think that most of these prescription drugs that they give you for mental issues, they don't really know what's happening in your brain. You know, Stretch, have you ever super dosed? I've regular dosed. I've always tried to be somewhat moderate. Um, yeah, moderate and purposeful. I think it's important when if you're going to do something that's going to alter your mindset. You should be purposeful about it. At least I need to be purposeful about it. So, but yeah, I guess I just wanted to. I've I've come on here a lot of times over this past year, and when I was feeling really shitty, and you guys helped me, and and so I guess I want to thank you for being here for me, and yeah, Leathercat. Wow, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I think a lot of us have these, these stories, and we all know what it's like. And it's an important thing that you know to not. How do I say this? Like, I mean, sometimes you'll even hear me. I'll joke about somebody saying, "Oh God, they didn't have the right donuts at the coffee shop today, and now I have PTSD or whatever." But PTSD is and these mental issues are uh, it depends on you. If you are expecting something and you're exposed to it and it's coming, you can you can you can deal with it. I don't have and I've said this before. I talked about this before. But I don't have the study. I'm sure I don't think I could find it if I tried to look. But there was a study done of PTSD among Iraq War veterans. And I read this a couple of years ago. Basically, the highest level of PTSD of different job descriptions in the U.S. Army in Iraq was truck drivers. Truck drivers. Okay. Because and the lowest level of PTSD and mental health issues was special forces. And you think about why that is, right? Why that is control of your environment. The truck drivers in Iraq, particularly, they'd have to drive every day to bases delivering supplies and what have you, and they would never know if they're going to hit an IED or not. Right? So they're always on edge, always scared. And nothing they can do about it because they have to drive down that road. And every time it's a roll of the dice. It's the unexpected thing. And whereas special forces guys go back behind enemy lines and for weeks and days on end and all kinds of other stuff, they get to choose. They choose their job. They plan everything out. They know exactly what they're going to do. They're working with a close-knit community of friends. and they have relative control over the situation. Yes, it's risky and all of those things, but you're prepared for it and you have the control. When my mother died when I was 9 of cancer. Cancer, by the way, caused by above ground nuclear testing in North Las Vegas. It took her 6.5 years to die. 6 horrible, painful, excruciating years. And I was prepared. I watched it all. You know? And yeah, obviously for a child, that's freaking traumatic and warps your whole mindset. But I didn't have the feeling that I do now. When my best friend in 2015 did what he did, it was such a shock. It was such a shock to all of us. Our whole circle of friends, you know. And this is too. Tony was prepared. He called me on Facebook like 10 minutes before he went to the front line for the last time. He knew what was going to happen. Casey he didn't want to. Well, he kind of wanted to go, but he also didn't. But he he knew that it was a distinct possibility. And I spoke to him like November, I think. He knew it was coming. He knew it was a distinct possibility. He was prepared. I was prepared. This just came out of left field, and it shouldn't have. Like, I knew the situation. It shouldn't have. All right, guys. Shit, I didn't mean to talk for an hour already. If you can, take a look at this article and read it. Helping veterans helps the war, because more soldiers will join and come back to fight if they know that they're going to get long-term help afterwards. This is how we do it, how we are doing it. One way to do it. So if you can help with that, fantastic. Thank you. This money, I don't have anything to do with any of this money. It doesn't go through me. But it's heroesukraine.org. So you can go there and donate whatever you can. And I want to thank all of you for coming today. And I'm just going to read what his wife had to say. My handsome husband, Charles Bowens. As of 12:30 a.m. tonight, it's been a week. A week since you decided to end your pain and suffering. I will never understand why you wouldn't just go get help. I will never understand why you left our girls. I will never understand being a widow at 33. It still doesn't feel real. I expect you to just show up or call me, but I know it will never happen again. I'm sorry I couldn't help you through your pain. I just want you to know I will never forgive you for ending it the way you did. I love you beyond words, handsome. I'm thankful that you are finally pain-free. I'm thankful that you no longer have to fight your demons. But again, I will never forgive you for ripping my heart and soul out of my body. I do pray you are resting easy. I love you, handsome. That's all, guys. Give your loved ones love. And keep them close to you and close to your heart. Slava Ukraine.